Well, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and what a gorgeous morning. I'm out here getting a little bit of the morning sun in my face. Man goes into a doctor's office with a big red, painful welt on the top of his head. And he says to the doctor, I got this big welt on the top of my head and it's just bugging me. He says, and I don't know, but it seems like every time I hit myself on the head with a hammer, it makes it worse. And the doctor looks at him a little puzzled and says, well, why don't you stop hitting yourself on the head with a hammer? And the guy says, well, I don't know if that's really such good advice, Doc, because I've watched a number of documentaries produced by the hammer manufacturers that told me that hitting myself on the head with a hammer is really good for me. I don't think I need to explain that one any further, but that's what's happened to us. That's what's happened to us. We're so brainwashed by the propaganda of the manufacturers of the substances that are killing us, but they've taken it a step further, unfortunately. They've got the doctors and the universities on their payrolls, and the doctors and the universities and the religious organizations have their people embedded in the bureaucratic committees that make the decisions dictating the government policy. And all you're trying to figure out how to do is put the friggin' hammer down so your head can heal. It's a simple answer. But the problem is so complicated, where do you attack it? You attack it by understanding the reality and the truth of it. But unfortunately, we have so many diverse beliefs that we've all come to, that we call ideologies. And these ideologies express themselves in the form of political views, religious views, and there isn't just one of each of these views, there are hundreds of them. And we argue over the differences between our particular views of politics and religion. And we're all convinced that our own personal view of all of these things is the correct view. And so am I. I'm convinced that what I've learned over a lifetime and observed, when I sifted through this crazy mind of mine, I come to conclusions that I think are correct. That's called hypothesis. The only way you validate a hypothesis is by legitimate or experimentation based on science, but we've even bastardized the definition of the word science. Ellen G. White defined science as the Word of God, and man-made science was heresy, basically. That enabled the Adventists back in the early days to actually make statements like, based on science, men shouldn't eat meat. And all of that has been laid down over all of these years. And our current thoughts have no basis in any reality at all. And here we are, just some people that are basically victims of all of this phony propaganda. And all we want to do is do what basically is right for our human bodies so we can be healthy and not weigh 300 pounds and not be sick. How do you find the answer to that? Well, that's been my lifelong journey. And 20 years ago, I wrote a book. And in rereading my book, I haven't found a single major concept that I wrote about 20 years ago that I disagree with today after 20 more years of accelerated information coming my way from all the fields of science. But I don't want to sell books. That's not my purpose here. My purpose here is to help you do whatever you have to do to make sure that you understand why we have all of these problems that we do. And that's been the thrust of my whole journey on YouTube here over the past 3 months. I've gotten through to some of you, but there are so many of you that are so deeply committed to your religious beliefs that if I happen to say the word evolution, I get chastised as being a heretic. I apologize to you. I don't deny anyone their religion. I've always said I envy people the comfort they gain from their religion. But that's not how my mind operates. My mind operates as a scientist, and not the kind of scientist that Ellen G. White had defined. If I'm going to help you, I need to do everything I can to make you understand why you cannot avoid the cravings for that jelly donut. The craving is real. The jelly donut is real. When you put that jelly donut into your mouth, the results are you get sick and you get fat, and that's real. Helping you understand why you cannot resist the temptation of that jelly donut is a terrifically complex thing to try to explain to somebody that has not had all the years of research and knowledge and experience and exposure to these things that I have. So from here on forward, I'm going to talk about evolution. And if you don't agree with that, don't hate me for it. This equation is about organic chemistry. So I'm going to stop being skittish about giving evolutionary explanations in the hope that those of you who have an open mind will listen to what I have to say and then decide if you agree with me or not. I'm going to be reading quite a bit from my old book for you, as well as doing my cooks and talks and recipe videos. I'm not giving up on those, but I am going to start a series of videos where I essentially try to lay into your mind the path of learning that I have achieved over a lifetime. You're free to get off the train anytime you want. I don't believe these are going to be wildly popular videos, but if there's a few of you out there that I can help achieve the success that I have, then I'm going to do that. So until the first one of those videos, I'm going to wish you all a happy weekend. Don't just take the day off. Take the whole weekend off and eat meat.